From the heart of Las Vegas, this is The Middle Ground, your destination for balanced conversations, real issues, and common sense solutions. Hosted by Tom Letizia, The Middle Ground starts now.
Good morning, Las Vegas. Friday morning, Tom Letizia here with you on the Middle Ground radio show, where we dig in a little bit deeper than your normal radio shows. We have guests on this show that you're not going to hear on other radio shows or other radio stations. For example, this last week we had some very inspiring guests. We had Liz Ortenberger from Safe Nest on, talking about the women that have been abused and have been dealing with sexual violence and things like that. Very interesting interview, very inspiring. Then we followed with an interesting interview with John Ponder from Hope from Prisoners, talking about how prisoners have been able to work their way back into society and build successful lives. And I thought that was very inspiring. And then yesterday we had the head of the Las Vegas Rescue Mission, Heather Engel, talking about our problem of homelessness. Today we're gonna move on to a subject that we've been talking about here since we started this show in January, and that's our courts, our judicial system, our judges, how we elect judges. Judges are lower on the ballot. They're known as lower ballot, down ballot races is what they call it. Generally, you don't know much about our judges. You're lucky to know maybe 2 judges, and we've got close to, 100 or so, or 80 or 90? I think 70 are going to be on the ballot in this next election. If you know 2 of those judges, you're probably doing better than most. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to familiarize you with our courts, with our judges, so that you'll have a better understanding of who is representing you and a little bit about them. As you know, we've got different courts. We've got the district court, which handles civil, criminal, and family. And we're going to talk to a family court judge today. Then you have your justice courts. They manage misdemeanors, traffic violations, small claims, and preliminary hearings. And then you have your municipal courts. They address city ordinances, violations, and misdemeanors within the city limits. But today we're honored to have with us one of our newest appointees on our family court bench, Judge Adriana Rincon White. And I'm so pleased to have her here. This is her first interview since being appointed by our governor. Judge White brings years of experience to family law, a deep compassion for the people she serves, and a firm belief in the power of the court to bring fairness, clarity, and dignity to families in tradition. Before her appointment, Judge White worked extensively with some of the most vulnerable members of our community, representing parents in dependency matters, advocating for children, and navigating some of the most complex and emotional cases in our legal system. She's known not only for her legal acumen, but also her empathy, efficiency, and dedication to improving the system from within. Today, we'll learn a little bit more about her journey to the bench, her vision for the court, and her commitment to justice for every family who walks through her courtroom doors. Join me in welcoming our guest today, Judge Adriana Rincon White, to the Middle Ground.
Thank you. Good morning, Tom, and good morning to all your listeners.
Well, thank you, and it's such a pleasure to have you here. And let me first say congratulations on your recent appointment. It's been how many weeks now?
About 6. March 3rd was my first day on the bench.
6 weeks on the bench. You're the newest judge in Southern Nevada. Actually, you're the newest judge in the state of Nevada. And you're taking on that role in our family court. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that. With me in the studio is our executive producer, Russell Letizia. Russell, why don't you kick it off with a question for Judge White?
Yeah, Judge White, can you share with us what inspired you to pursue a career in law, specifically in family law, and how your journey led to this appointment?
Well, good morning, Russell. That's a great question. I come from a family of community service. I grew up watching my mom serve the community that I grew up in, even with limited resources. She always gave of her time. And I remember being at the ceremony where she received a plaque for serving the church for 25 years. And she cleaned the church on her own for 25 years and was recognized for that. So I witnessed my mom being a servant of the community that she belonged to. And my sister is a teacher. My other sister is a librarian for San Diego County, and my other sister is a lawyer with legal services. So I come from a family that serves the public. And so it's kind of part of my DNA. I was a family law attorney for a long time, but I have always volunteered in the community that I belong. And this was just a way to ascend to public service and community service, because being a judge is serving the community, in my opinion. And although I get compensated for that, it doesn't come easy, and it comes at great expense, not only of my personal time, my personal emotion and well-being, but I have always been a public servant, and so this was just the next step in that.
You know, I always, and I say this often, that our judges are the most, I believe, the most important elected officials that we vote for when we go out and cast our ballot. Unfortunately, they're the least recognized. You know, people don't pay attention to who our judges are, and our family court, I believe, serves such a vital role. I always say the day you walk into a family court could be the worst day of your life. So I want to ask you, Judge White, what do you see as the most significant responsibilities of a family court judge, and how do you prepare for these challenges?
Well, I see myself as part of the solution, not of the problem, right? And family court touches so many lives, and people should be aware of who's there, because people could be there on good days, like adoptions, right?
Right. That's the happiest day, right?
And changing your name, that's also a good thing for many. To being involved with juveniles, you know, from the dependency section to the delinquency section and then the custodial section. So my job, I see as a judge, is being a solution to the problem that is so intimate to many, right? You get a traffic ticket, you forget about it, right? I can't remember the last traffic ticket that I had, right? But somebody messes with my kids, right? Somebody messes with my paycheck, trying to take it away, you know, or try to get my kid in trouble. I'll remember that. So it's very important to know who's in those roles. And one of the important jobs of the important job of a judge is to offer a solution when people come into the building angry, sad, depressed, and things of that. So you need to be a warm welcome. The hearing begins the minute people walk into the courthouse, right?
Yeah.
And so the experience of a judge has to be to encourage even the marshal that's at the front gate, right, to be a public servant and to be comforting, not aggressive to people who walk in. When people are asking for directions at the information desk, that they be welcomed and don't feel dumb asking, where is this courtroom? So I think the judge needs to inspire all that.
Yeah.
And I work very closely with my marshal, who's one of the trainers at the courthouse, to ensure that he's, you know, leading the front gate the right way.
Yeah.
And my secretary, who answers the phone, right, and is the first person they talk to. And the court clerk, who's the face right next to me. So the role of a judge is beyond knowing the law.
Yeah, and you know, that's interesting that you point that out, because it's a very intimidating experience when you walk into a courtroom. It's a little bit scary if you've never been in one before, and a lot of people that, you know, show up in your court, I'm sure, haven't been there before. How would you best describe your judicial philosophy when it comes to handling family court cases, Judge White?
Well, the way I see it is that the law applies to all and is about the people. Mm-hmm. And so my philosophy is to interpret the law the way it was written, not the way I feel about it inside my home, right? And to be fair.
Right.
And the law is sometimes, you know, geared towards people thinking that the judge is going to do what I feel is best, right? And what I believe should be the way that I should raise my child without the input of the other parent, right? But the law says that you have to listen to everybody.
Yeah.
So usually what I do in my courtroom is comfort people by saying, I know why you're here, right? The custody of your child, the division of the house or whatever. This is what the law says. Let's hear what you have to say, and let's see how the facts apply to the law and interpret it as moderately as possible to accommodate the best interest of everybody, really. And it's a big job.
Yeah.
It's a big balancing act because sometimes people see their way only, and not until a judge tells them certain things do they start seeing, oh, gosh, I'm really not going to get my way, and I need to be open. To other possibilities.
Right. And let's face it, family disputes can get very personal. So I want to ask you, how do you balance empathy with the need for impartiality in your courtroom? Because that's got to be very difficult.
I think empathy, Tom, really begins with listening to people, right? When you go to family court, you want to be heard. And there are some judges who, in my experience as an attorney, right, you'd walk into the courtroom and already had their mind made up and didn't want to hear from you. So I think that people need to be heard first. That's how you show empathy. You need to respond to that, whatever they tell you, by telling them, I understand and I hear you. Okay? This is what the law says, and we need to balance all these interests. So empathy is about listening, allowing people to be heard, even if they're not, on point to things, and really engaging and understanding that you are going to be fair to them.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do is I don't read income forms until I read the facts of a case first, because I don't want to be automatically influenced, right? We are all humans. I don't want to be influenced by exterior things other than the facts of the case and the law of the case.
Yeah.
So I want to hear people on the merits and what they have to say, and be purposeful and intentional with how I talk to people so that they know that I am engaged.
Yeah,
Sometimes I remember going to the Supreme Court of the United States on a tour one time and observing Justice Thomas on the bench, and he was fully reclined. I don't think, his eyes were closed, and I don't know if he was listening. I don't want to be the judge who's sitting back and just dazing, right? I sit upright and I engage with people with eye contact and tone and gentleness so that they know that I'm listening to everything you're saying, but I still have to apply the law.
Yeah, I think that's what people want more than anything, is a judge that listens and pays attention, and that's what's very important to anyone that's going to show up in any courtroom. We're talking to our newest judge, just appointed by Governor Joe Lombardo, Adriana Rincon White. She's in our family court. Russell, Letizia, did you have another question for the judge?
Yeah, in what ways do you think the family court system can best support children and families during difficult times?
I think the biggest complaint that I hear in the community is how long it takes to see a judge or get resolution. There's actually a statute that drives how long a case is supposed to last, and it's written that it's a year. So people are supposed to get resolution to their cases within a year. And the best way to support that mission is to be active with your case management. There's also a rule that says within the first 90 days, you're supposed to have your hearing set. And so one of the goals of my department is to get people in there within the first 90 days of their case so that we start working towards resolution. People don't want to wait years to figure out the schedule for their kids. Or how much alimony they're going to get, or whether they're going to get the car that they, or the house or whatever. So the best way to support the community as a judge is to be expedient and be decisive. There is a way to take matters under advisement, like after you have a trial and you can't make a decision, you're allowed as a judge to take it under advisement. I'm working hard not to get to that point, because people need answers. So managing your caseload, getting people into your courtroom, unclogging your calendar, I think is the best way to support. People don't want to wait years or months for important decisions.
And what the public should know is that our courts have a backlog of cases, okay? We've got only so many judges in each courthouse, our family court, our civil court, our criminal court, our municipal courts, our justice courts. There's only so many judges to hear all the cases here in all of Clark County. And, of course, our legislature decided not to add additional departments in the recent session, which is a disappointment for a lot of people in the courthouse, because that's not going to help the situation. Now, of course, we're growing so fast here in Clark County, so we need more departments in our courts. So we're not going to get that. So it's not going to get any better. People are going to have to wait longer to hear their case come before them. I want to ask you another question about community connection, because I know that you've been very much involved in our community. How important is it to maintain a connection with the community beyond the courtroom, and what forms does that take?
It takes a lot of personal sacrifice. Being a judge is not just about being the courthouse, right? You have to go out in the community. Like right now, we're kind of reaching out to the community to educate them. Mm-hmm. I came here on my own time prior to going to court this morning. And I think it's an honor and a privilege to be a judge. And it's also a way to pay it forward to talk to the community. Maybe you'll inspire the next generation of judges, right? We want people to continue going to law school and subsequently becoming judges. I met my first judge when I was an adult. I met my first judge when I was an attorney, actually. Prior to that, I didn't know an attorney. So the way I handle it is I want little kids to be able to say, I met my first judge when I was 6. Every year, I go to Career Day at C.C. Rono Elementary, which is a 5-minute walk from the courthouse. And one of the first questions I ask the students there is, do you know where I work? No. Do you know where the court is located? Yeah, no. And then I say, do you know the McDonald's on Pecos and Bonanza? Yes. I work right across the street. What? I go to that McDonald's after school every day. Kids don't know a judge. Yeah. They don't know where the courthouse is. They don't know what a courthouse does. Yeah. They see us as the bad people who get their parents in trouble. So I think it starts with the elementary or even earlier. I also, I'm working currently on hosting an art contest at a middle school to decorate my courtroom, because I want kids to say, hey, my art is displayed there. I'm also involved in law schools. In fact, Tuesday, every year I go speak to the Boyd School of Law, their domestic violence course, because I think it's important to be involved in all levels so that people know what a judge does, that we're not the bad people, that we're not there to get you in trouble. We're there to be problem solvers when no one else can help you. And so I think it's important to be involved in the community at all levels so that we are seen in a more positive light.
Yeah, and there's so many different organizations, so many groups. This morning, for example, Hispanics in Politics is having an event. Next week, Latin Chamber of Commerce is having an event. The Asian Chamber of Commerce is having an event in the next week. So there's so many events going on, and I know that you attend a lot of these events, but despite all of this, only 10 to 20% of the voters are going to recognize a judge's name on a ballot. And that's if you do all of the things that you do. There are some that even have a lower name recognition. So it's very difficult running for judges. You can't raise money. And let's face it, the way to get on television and to buy digital ads and buy radio commercials and billboards is, by raising money. And judges, unlike your typical politicians who are running for county commission, mayor, or even Congress or governor, they can raise money starting now. You have to wait until the filing closes, which is the end of January. So a lot of the things that you have to do are a lot of that grassroots type stuff by reaching out to the community. A lot of concerns. Okay, so I want to do something fun right now. We only got a couple minutes left, and I want to something that we just started doing. And this is going to catch you off guard here, but it's called our lightning round. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
And it's a rapid fire questions. It's very quick. But I hit you with a few things that people like to hear about. First off, what's your favorite legal book?
I actually just read the Sotomayor biography.
Okay.
And it was very inspiring because I share a similar background where our parents came from low education, low income. And so I saw myself in her, and her goal is to inspire the younger generation to pursue. College is, too expensive, and a lot of people are staying away from it. So I found it very inspirational. I don't know if you classify it as a legal book, but she's on the Supreme Court.
She is.
And so
yeah.
She fits in that role.
A Supreme Court justice. She definitely fits in for that. Favorite quote on justice?
Justice is for everyone, not just the people who can pay for it.
I love that. Best courtroom memory?
When I presided over the adoption of 3 little boys who had been raised in a car. Oh. And the oldest was 9 years old when he finally got to live in a house.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was the hearing master at the time who granted that adoption, and their picture is still in my office.
What a memorable moment that must have been. Most inspiring role model?
My mom.
Okay.
My mom.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Mom and dad, always very important in our lives. One word to describe your style in the courtroom?
Assertive, decisive, punctual. I'm always there before everybody else, even my staff, and we tease about that. And patient.
Yeah. All very important attributes. Punctuality, I know that a lot of attorneys that I talk to, there's nothing they hate more than sitting there waiting for the judge to show up in the courtroom. Okay, one final one. Most influential mentor?
I have to say it's my a judge who's on the bench now, who I called when I was an attorney and he was an attorney. So I've known him a long time. He didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was, but they told me, call Judge Bryce Duckworth because he'll know the answer. And he answered his phone. He had no idea who I was. I had been an attorney for like 6 months, and he answered my questions without knowing. He's still answering my questions now, and he's doing my investiture. My investiture with the Supreme Court is May 22nd. And he's going to be the judge who administers the oath. So he has literally seen me from a 6-month-old attorney, not old, but 6-month attorney, to now a judge. And I've seen him also ascend in his career.
And it's important for a new judge to have mentors that you can talk to because, as you mentioned, I mean, this is a brand new job. You just started as a judge, and like any job, there's a learning curve. So to have a mentor like Judge Duckworth, that's very important. Judge Adriana Rincon White, thank you so much for driving all the way out here today. I know it was a long drive out from your place, and you drove all the way down here to the radio station on the Las Vegas Strip, and we appreciate that. And I hope our listeners had a chance today to get to know you a little bit better, and we'll have you back again so you can talk to our listeners again.
Well, thank you very much. It was really fun being here, and I love educating the community. One last thing, courtrooms are open to the public. So you don't have to have a case pending. You're more than welcome to come and see what we do at Family Court.
And I wish more people would do that. The transparency that our courts provide is a very important part of our system today, which is open for everyone. So thank you, Judge White. Appreciate you being on the Middle Ground radio show. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk to an attorney that just won a $15 million verdict against a major hotel chain. He won against MGM. He beat the Cosmopolitan. We're going to talk about that case right after this. Stay with us.
Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
The biggest sports report
For the seventh time in the 8 years of their existence, the Vegas Golden Knights will contend for the Stanley Cup. The NHL playoffs begin tomorrow, but for the Knights, they begin their run on Sunday against the Minnesota Wild. At the Westgate Superbook, odds makers are optimistic about their chances to hoist the cup this year. They're offered at 7-1, shortest odds on the board. Caesars and BetMGM have them at 8.5-1. It'll be the first time VGK and former Knight and future Hall of Fame goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury meet in the postseason. 7 o'clock face-off at the Fortress on Sunday. The Las Vegas Aviators' 4-game win streak was snapped last night at Las Vegas Ballpark as the Sugar Land Space Cowboys outlasted the Athletics AAA affiliate 7-6. The LA Lakers open their NBA playoff series tomorrow night. They'll host the Minnesota Timberwolves in the best-of-7 series. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 106.9 The Bomb. Coverage starts at 5:15.
The biggest sports report, AM 670, talk radio done right.
He's the man behind the message, the strategist with 54 years of unstoppable success. From mayoral races to national headlines, he delivers. Tom Letizia, the maestro of media. The name behind 10,000 commercials, $1 billion in ad spend, and a legacy of political wins. Need to win hearts, shift public opinion, or manage a crisis? Visit LetiziaAgency.com, where your message meets its moment. Navigating government and election law is complex. Bravo Schrager LLP, led by Bradley Schrager and Daniel Bravo, provides expert legal counsel businesses, PACs, nonprofits, and more. From compliance and rulemaking to ballot measures, we guide you through the legal landscape of politics. Visit BravoSchrager.com or call 702-996-1724. Bravo Schrager LLP. Visit BravoSchrager.com or call 702-996-1724. Democracy is our law practice.
Every week is a blowout sale at Desert Liquidation. Save up to 60% off. Desert Liquidation on Decatur and Alta Vista by the Ross receives pallets every week from huge retailers like Costco, Home Depot, Target, Lowe's, and more at a massive discount. It's 11,000 square feet filled with mattresses, refrigerators, couches, ovens, kitchen accessories, sporting goods, and much more. Get to Desert Liquidation on Decatur and Alta Vista today or call 702-882-2426. Save big at Desert Liquidation.
From a village in Tonga to the courtroom in Las Vegas, attorney Michael Samft has tried over 150 jury trials, more than most lawyers will in a lifetime. Contact attorney Michael Samft. Attorney Samft holds big companies accountable when their products harm real people. He's your advocate, your fighter, your trial attorney. Call 702-720-3030 or visit safetyovershares.com. That's 702-720-3030 or safetyovershares.com. Michael Samft. Justice starts here.
Ready to transform your body, boost your energy, and feel your best? Welcome to OC Body Fit at Tivoli Village. We offer personalized training for all ages and fitness levels, perfect for beginners, injury recovery, or pushing toward your next big goal. Our expert trainers focus on you with customized plans and proper techniques. Enjoy small group classes that bring the motivation of a community with the personal attention you need. Don't wait. Start your journey to a stronger, healthier you today. Call or text 702-978-8263 to book your free consultation now. OC Body Fit, your ultimate fitness destination.
Bravo Schrager LLP provides trusted legal counsel for nonprofits, offering expertise in compliance, political activity, litigation, and more. From formation to fulfilling your mission, we've got you covered. Contact Bravo Schrager LLP at 702-996-1724. That's 702-996-1724, or visit us online at bravoschrager.com. That's bravoschrager.com. Bravo Schrager LLP, your partner in nonprofit law.
Hello, I'm Marla Letizia, founder of the Long Life Era community. If you are age 50 and over, you are entering what we call your Long Life Era. The next 50 years of your life could be the happiest years as you start up the U-curve of happiness. The Long Life Mindset is a shift in how you see the world and yourself.
Start your journey today. Embrace the mindset. Go to longlifemindset.com.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
We're stuck in the middle with you here on the Middle Ground Radio Show, and we've had a great week. We've had some inspiring guests, and it's always fun to talk to leaders in our community, people that make a difference, people that you're not gonna hear about in a lot of places. TV is limited, maybe 60-second sound bites, if that much. And, they got a 30-minute newscast, and they're cramming a lot of stuff in. So we dig a little deeper here on the Middle Ground, and we're very fortunate to have some wonderful guests with us. And this is our second guest of the show today, and I'm very happy to have this man here with us. And he's been here before. He's no stranger to the Middle Ground. His name is Patrick Kang. He's the founder and lead trial attorney of Ace Law, one of the top-rated plaintiff law firms in Nevada. And with him is Christian Smith. And they're going to talk to you a little bit about a big case, a recent $15 million jury verdict. You probably read about it in the Review Journal. The story actually went national. And it was a case against the Cosmopolitan Hotel. It was a major win for the victims of negligence and a bold statement that no corporation is too big to be held accountable. Patrick is recognized by super lawyers. He's a national trial lawyer, top 100, $1 million advocate forum. So we're going to talk about this landmark case. These two wonderful attorneys that have done some amazing work here in our community. Patrick, thank you. Christian, thank you for being in the studio with us.
Thanks, Tom. It's Christian and I have been working on this case together for really years now, and Christian actually took it initially and ran with it. He was actually the attorney at my office who originally met with Debbie Fenton. And this has really been actually his baby for the past few years. He's really done an amazing job working it up. Discovery is a crucial part of trial, crucial part. And the biggest part of discovery is really just never giving up, always digging in, because large corporations, they have lots of documentation, lots of evidence that they may not necessarily want to give over right away, right? So Christian and his team did an amazing job getting all that info for us.
Okay, Russell, did you want to kick things off with the first question?
Yeah, let's start with the headline. What was this $15 million case against the Cosmopolitan all about?
Well, in September of 2021, our client, Debbie Fenton, was walking through the Chandelier Bar level 1.5 at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. She was there for an event. She was in town for a mortgage broker's event, and she came in. She was there. She was walking through. She slipped and she fell on what appeared to be liquid, possibly broken glass. She had some cuts on her legs. When she fell, she had a grade 3 tear in her hamstring, and that caused her almost immediate excruciating pain in her left leg. She couldn't get up. So, one of the stories that we heard during litigation that we had to tell the jury was that, her husband, Steve, who was right behind her, came over and, said, "Debbie, get up. And she was like, I can't get up. Something wasn't working. Something wasn't right. And, it was then through discovery that we figured out, wow, there was possibly approximately 3 minutes and 26 seconds before Debbie fell that there appeared to be some sort of drop. So you can kind of see in the video surveillance like a guest dropping a piece of glass, like dropping a cup. And there was a security manager from the Cosmopolitan there at the time in the corner. He kind of steps out in the video, looks over, sees a guest kind of lean over and pick a piece up, turns around, goes right back to his corner. Doesn't see, if he had just stared one more second, he would have seen that guest go back for a second piece and realized, oh, there's a broken glass over there, because you don't go bend down and pick up two pieces of one plastic cup or something like that. So it was obviously a glass cup that had shattered at that point. And upon closer examination of the video, you can actually see pieces of glass flying everywhere. So nobody did a thing. The security manager didn't do a thing. Other Cosmopolitan employees walked by twice, approximately, besides the security manager. And ultimately, in 3 minutes and 26 seconds, that's all it took to change Debbie Fenton's life forever.
Well, so it was negligence, obviously, on the part of the hotel, and they could have easily taken a few extra seconds to see this glass on the floor. And thank goodness for you and your client that there was this surveillance video that was allowing you to uncover this case. I would imagine if you didn't have that surveillance video, you wouldn't have a case, right?
I mean, without the surveillance video, the casino could have easily just made the argument that they didn't have actual or constructive notice, which is the benchmark in these types of cases to prove negligence against a property owner.
Yeah.
Because the law basically states that just because an accident happens, whether it's at a casino or at a Target or at a Walmart, it doesn't automatically mean that the property owner is responsible. You have to be able to show actual or constructive notice of the dangerous defect and the failure to remedy.
Yeah.
So the surveillance video was critical.
Sure.
I mean, it showed, and it's I've been doing this for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
I've handled a lot of premises cases over the course of my career. I've never had a situation where you're able to argue both actual and constructive notice in the same setting. And the surveillance video was critical.
And now Christian Smith, that's whose voice you just heard, you were the lead attorney in the courtroom, correct?
I was. Patrick handled all the liability aspects of the case during the trial. I focused more on the medical, being able to demonstrate the severity of her injuries. We actually were able to establish that, ironically, through the Cosmos medical expert. Calling her, in our case in chief, to demonstrate the severity of her injuries, because they tried to play it off as it just wasn't that bad of an injury.
Sure.
Their own medical expert said no, it was. It wasn't just the hamstring tear and the 2 surgeries that she underwent. It was the fact that she was left with permanent nerve damage through the damage to her sciatic nerve, which left her with what's called complex regional pain syndrome.
So let me ask you this. Debbie Fenton, this all began in September of 2021. We're in 2025 right now. We're almost 4 years past that moment when this horrible accident occurred. How has this changed her life? I mean, $15 million, that's a lot of money. But then again, she went through a very difficult time, a lot of pain and suffering, I would imagine. What's her life like now?
Well, I think the most poignant part during the trial, and I don't know if Christian would agree with me, is when actually Cosmopolitan's attorneys, they got up and they cross-examined our client, Debbie Fenton, and they said, what do you want? What do you want out of this? What do you want? We know you want justice, but what does that mean to you? And Debbie's answer was exactly perfect, because it was the realest answer I've ever heard in a courtroom. And she said, I want my leg back. I want my life back. And that's essentially the benchmark for, what she truly wanted. Obviously, we don't have a time machine, so we can't do that for her. But what we could do was get monetary damages, and this was, monetary damages, and that's what the jury awarded. And they did that based on everything they heard. This has irreparably harmed Debbie Fenton. She walks with a cane now permanently.
Yeah,
permanently.
And the punitive damages were quite substantial. What was that number?
Oh, there was no punitive damages on it.
There were no punitive damages?
No punitive.
All pain and suffering?
No, it was all – there was I think the number you're thinking about is the $12 million in future pain and suffering.
Okay.
So I think that was the most impact because, some of the evidence that we got out was the fact that, she's got approximately 27 years of life left, 27 years of life left according to national health statistics. And based on that, she was She was 52 when this incident happened, but she was healthy. She was active. There was no medical evidence that she had any kind of pre-existing injuries to her low back or her left leg or anything like that. All the testimony showed that she was, we're talking about certified scuba diver. She liked whitewater rafting. She liked, snowboarding, all the things. And then, Christian did a great job. He really handled the doctors in this case. And, Christian, what did the doctors say? They were...
basically what happened is, she tore her hamstring muscle. And the first surgery, they went and tried to reattach the hamstring. But it had been so compromised because of the underlying injury that about approximately a year later, it re-tore. What the Cosmo discounted was that in each of those surgeries, so much scar tissue had developed around the hamstring muscle as it was trying to heal that when they did each of those surgeries, they actually had to do debride, basically, which is removing all the scar tissue around the sciatic nerve. And through their own medical expert, we talked about the severity of that aspect of the surgery and how it actually caused permanent nerve damage to her. And it's now left her, every single day, every waking moment, she has these shooting pains that goes down her leg. And it leaves her with not only the pain, but also the diminished capacity in her leg.
Yeah. Yeah, no amount of money can buy back your health, that's for sure. I got to take a quick break, but when we come back from this break, I want to ask you a question. Was there a moment in time when you knew you had the jury on your side? We'll get to that and more on The Middle Ground right after this. Stay with us.
I'm stuck in the middle with you.
Looking to buy or sell luxury real estate in Las Vegas? Trust Chip Madsen, a top-producing realtor with over 18 years of experience in the luxury home and commercial property markets. Known for his honesty, hard work, and success, Chip has built strong client relationships through attention to detail. As a Las Vegas resident since 1997, he understands the local market inside and out. Whether it's residential, industrial, land, office space, or retail, Chip has a proven record of handling it all. Partner with Chip at Is Luxury, the #1 luxury real estate team in the Las Vegas Valley, and experience unparalleled service. Contact Chip today at 702-420-3332 or visit isluxury.com/Chip Madsen to start your real estate journey. Trust Chip Madsen, 702-420-3332 or visit isluxury.com/Chip Madsen to start your real estate journey.
A jury has spoken. Deborah Fenton slipped and fell, and the Cosmopolitan was found negligent. Thanks to Patrick Kang and Ace Law Group, justice was delivered. If you've been hurt by someone else's negligence, don't face it alone. Call Ace Law Group. We don't back down. We win. We win big, like $15 million big. Call 702-357-9729. Ace Law Group.
Tinfoil Hat 86 wrote online, I just visited 20 dealerships, saw 26 brands, and got a crazy good deal. The Valley Auto Mall in Henderson may be #Believe. Save yourself. Click or visit the Valley Auto Mall today.
KMCQ On-Time Traffic is powered by Meineke Car Care Centers. Right now, you can get an oil change for only $39.95. Meineke, doing car care right.
Freeway travel not too bad a shape this hour. No accidents actually being reported on the highway. Still working that injury wreck, though, on the east side. This involves a cat bus on Tropicana eastbound just past Boulder Highway. And they do have some lanes blocked there on eastbound Tropicana after Boulder Highway. Still working one in the northeast, also at Cheyenne. Westbound just past Pecos, right lanes blocked there. No rain today, leaving us with sunny skies and cool temperatures. Barely see 70 degrees this afternoon, and the wind gusts are back up around 25 miles per hour. We'll warm into the mid-80s by Easter Sunday. It's 59 degrees right now. I'm Mark Thomas with your on-time traffic, brought to you by Meineke Car Care Centers on AM 670 KMZQ.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
We're back with you on the Middle Ground radio show. We're spending our day in the courtroom today, and we're talking to one of our most prominent attorneys here in Las Vegas, Patrick Kang, who's the founder and lead trial attorney of Ace Law Group, and he brought in his expert lawyer today, Christian Smith, and the two of them just knocked off a major victory. The firm has had some big wins this year. Ace Law Group won a major mold case earlier in the year, which was one of the top mold cases in the country. Now this $15 million case against the Cosmopolitan has put this firm on the map big time, and we're so delighted to be able to have Patrick and Christian here in the studio with us. So you're an experienced lawyer, okay? You've spent a lot of time in courtrooms. You pretty much know how to read a jury when you're sitting in that courtroom. Was there a moment in this trial where you looked at the jury and said, I think we got this?
Well, I'm not going to speak for Christian, but, as far as I'm concerned, I never take for granted that we ever have a jury. You never assume that the jury's in your corner. This jury in particular, I don't know if Christian will agree with me, they had possibly some of the best poker faces I've ever seen. They held it consistently throughout trial. I mean, I could not tell. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Christian?
Yeah, I was the same thing too. I mean, when I was, examining all the medical experts in this case, I was obviously laser focused on them, but I would kind of turn my attention to look at the jury. They seemed engaged, but you just never know. And I've been doing this long enough. I've done a fair share of my own trials. I've learned early on to not try to make a prediction.
Right.
You just wait until the verdict comes down.
Yeah, no, I've been with a number of attorneys over the years, and I've sat in a number of trials, watched, and smart attorneys realize that you never know what the jury's going to come back with. You never know what's on their mind. You never know what's going on in the room where they're deliberating. So I want to ask you this: what does a verdict of this size say about the jury expectations for corporate accountability in Las Vegas?
Well, I think it sends an important message to all the corporations out there, and that message is, accept responsibility. I mean, it's really just time. You got to accept responsibility. And, there's so many companies that, when something bad happens or something goes wrong, they immediately clamp up and they just don't want to see the other side of things.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But, this is an important message because the jury giving this kind of award is definitely telling corporations, like, look, what you do is important. How you handle matters are important. How you handle safety procedures are important. How you document things are important. You need to follow the rules. You need to abide by the rules. And, the fact that they didn't in this case and the jury came down and made this kind of award, that's telling, right?
Yeah.
I think it's also, to add what Patrick said, accepting responsibility is paramount, but it's also don't try and create or manufacture defenses during the course of litigation. And I think that really blew up with the Cosmopolitan, because during the course of the trial, they tried to create this alternative theory that there was another spill that was not substantiated on the video.
Yeah.
And when they did that, I think, my personal opinion, they really lost the jury. Because the initial video clearly showed that the security guard had actual or constructive notice. Then when they tried to spin it off and say, well, there's this other spill that took place, they lost credibility.
The jury just didn't buy it. Yeah. Okay, so you get the verdict. Very big moment, one of the most crucial moments of the entire trial. The jury comes back. How did your client react when she heard the verdict?
I was getting kind of emotional myself during the verdict. So, the way we do our trials, we get extremely close to our clients. You feel like they become family, and that's actually what Debbie and her husband said as we closed the case and we said our goodbyes. She turned to me and she actually said, it's weird. I feel like I'm leaving my family right now. And I said, yeah, that's how it is. But from what I can recall, I think she got somewhat emotional. And then I think she saw me get emotional during the verdict.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of snapped her out and was like, oh, are you okay? Like comforting me. And I'm like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah, I had some conversations with her husband after the fact because, even though he wasn't a named plaintiff, he endured all of the pain and suffering that his wife endured. He was there with her from day one and had to deal with it. And he was... you could just see the kind of the emotional release that he had.
Had to be an impactful moment. Okay, so we've only got a couple minutes left. We've got about 2 or 3 minutes left. Usually at the end of these shows, we have a little fun, and it's called our rapid fire lightning round. It's fun and it's fast, okay? So in the last couple minutes, I'm going to hit you with a few things. You give me a quick answer. Patrick, first thing you do before a big trial?
Workout.
Very good. Favorite legal movie or TV show, Christian?
Oh, The Firm with Tom Cruise.
I love that movie.
Good choice.
Patrick, toughest opposing counsel you've ever faced?
Liz Skane in the mold case. She was super tough.
And you won it too.
Yeah.
Well, on top of everything. Christian, best advice you ever got?
Oh, gosh. Probably early on when I began my legal career, it was, try to be able to separate, your work from your personal life. Don't let it bleed into each other and just enjoy it and have fun.
That's the name of the game. Have fun.
I got an answer for that one,
Okay, go ahead.
Go for it. That's the best advice I've ever gotten. Just go for it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. Put your head down and put on your game face and go for it. Okay, Patrick, most underrated courtroom skill?
Really just connecting, like being able to emote your emotions and connect with people, connect with witnesses, connect with the jury, connect with the judge.
Yeah, connect with everybody. Communication. Christian, last book you read?
Oh, The Terminal List.
Oh, okay. I didn't read that one. Interesting. Patrick, most inspiring figure, legal or otherwise?
Most inspiring figure, legal or otherwise. I'd have to go. My mind goes straight to Rex Paris, who's a trial lawyer in California, and he's all about the connection. And he preaches the connection, and I'm just so inspired by how deeply he studies human connection, and that's how he incorporates it into his trials.
Connecting is important in no matter what you do in life. You got to connect with people. Okay, I got about 20, 30 seconds left. I'm going to give you each a stab at this one. We'll start with Christian. One word to describe your trial style.
I'm actually going to borrow this from Patrick. It was a motto that we put in place with the Fenton trial. Relentless.
Relentless. I love that. Patrick.
Fun.
There you go. You got to have fun in everything you do in life, don't you? If you're not having fun, why are you doing it, right? And
Exactly.
You guys seem to enjoy what you do, especially when you win, right? It's a lot more. It's a lot more fun when you win, right?
It is a lot more fun when you win.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
I don't think we'd be here if we didn't win.
No, I wouldn't invite you on this radio show if you did. Just kidding. But no, it's always good to win, and you guys won a big one. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick Kang and Christian Smith from Ace Law Group. Big $15 million victory. These guys are probably going to celebrate this Easter weekend. I know I am, not because of their win, but because it's Easter Sunday. You all take care. We'll see you Monday morning on The Middle Ground. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.